Boo, boo, boo.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Bleep, bleep, bleep.
Beep, boop, 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 boop.
Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah.
Wah, 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 wah.
3 guys and a band. Watch the draft. And it was cool.
Yeah, that was a wild draft, actually.
You know, it was, I would say it's not as wild as we thought, but there was just some teams that just had a bit more wild than everybody else.
Well, that's
Specifically
true.
one team.
Specifically one team, yeah.
Well, I mean, I will say, like, to kind of start it off, there were 2 records broken in this draft,
Oh, that's true.
which was the the one was tied and one was broken, which was the first one was most QB picks in 12 picks at 6, which ties the record from what, like 1986 or 3 or whatever, right? We talked
3,
about
I believe.
Yeah. So
And then the
Yes.
other one was like nobody took a quarterback after that until like the 5th
Right.
round or something.
yeah, yeah, but and that one did break the record for the longest streak without a QB after that. So that's at the QB position, this draft was a real roller coaster.
It sure was. But yeah, we had plenty of stuff happen. Well, let's see. Did we have any crazy news? We had Jaguars release Zay Jones and Joey Sly, their kicker.
Mhm.
So that's cool.
Yep.
It looks like NFL owners back Roger Goodell's vision of a remade 18-game schedule.
Wait, so hold on, is that official now?
I heard that it seems like it's gonna happen, but I think it has to go through some
Yeah, how do they-
stuff.
How would they do that without like talking to the union?
I think that's the part that has to happen now.
Right.
So it's not happening this year, and maybe not even next year, but maybe like the year after that. I mean, it still could happen next year, but don't think they'd iron it out by then. I mean, the whole thing would be they have an extra week and then lose a preseason week. That's typically what it is. And like, I don't think that's a terrible idea as long as they give teams like an extra bye week.
They should go for 2 bye weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know why they. I mean, well, actually, I do kind of know that there's some like holidays that they're moving around basically.
Mhm.
And if
They can
do
move holidays?
We'll move
Yeah.
Christmas.
I think no, there was like, I forget what it is. It's like I think it's Labor Day weekend that they're trying to avoid or something. At the beginning, if they put 2 bye weeks in with 18 games, but it's a problem that's solvable if you move the Pro Bowl to after the Super Bowl again, like it used to be.
Which,
And-
who cares when the Pro Bowl is, to be honest?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not sure that they had a demonstrable viewership increase by putting it the week before the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl still,
Yeah.
you know?
So I mean, we'll see. I mean, you could have like an early season bye week and a late season bye week, or even like mid to late, like week 11 or something. I don't know, around there.
Everyone's gonna be dead, dude. Like by week 18, like by the playoffs, it's gonna be all backups. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
So I mean, we'll see if it even happens, but it's seeming like they're trying for it. The Raiders signed former Cowboy receiver Michael Gallup to a 1-year, $3 million deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not a bad addition.
Yeah. Speaking of bad additions, the Cowboys have re-signed Ezekiel Elliott.
All in,
That's,
baby.
all in.
That's all
All in.
I saw somebody
did-
say Cowboys ground and pound is back, and I was like, sure.
I did see an insane thing that said Cowboys sign Patriots leading receiver.
That is
Because-
actually insane.
That's just wild.
Yeah, that is. And they don't have Tony Pollard anymore, so it's like,
No,
Yeah.
Nope, the Cowboys are all in though. But I rest assured.
They're
all
all
in.
in.
You know,
I mean, they're probably still gonna like have huge volume numbers and make the playoffs, though.
And then next year, Dak will be gone, and what's
Yeah.
his face head coach will be gone, and then the Cowboy cycle will repeat.
I don't even. I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't really even do that much in the free agency, and like
That
Yeah.
much. They didn't do anything.
yeah,
Yeah. Like, what did they do in? free
Literally,
agency?
I don't
Someone-
think anything.
You know, someone would make a lot of Google AdSense money if they made a website that just had like all the transactions in one place.
that would be nice.
Maybe there's a
It looks
there's a
like
site for that.
I found. I think we got it here on ESPN. They signed Eric Kendricks to a 1-year deal. I mean, that's all right. He was pretty good. At least
Yeah.
he used to be. They re-signed Jordan Lewis, corner. They re-signed Rico Dowdle, running back. They got Royce Freeman at running back. That's a football player, I think.
Yeah.
Long snapper. They brought him back.
Mhm.
They lost their offensive tackle to the Jets. They brought back Ezekiel. Wow, yeah, they
Didn't do anything.
didn't do anything, and then their
Yeah.
draft was. I didn't even really pay attention to their draft, honestly. What did they do in the draft? Let me see. Any big moves? 'Cause they needed a running back, so we were all like, "Oh yeah, they'll probably take a running back or something." Let's see if they did. They took an offensive tackle. Okay, so that's probably the replacement for the one they lost. They took a defensive end. They took a guard, a linebacker, a corner, a wide receiver, another lineman, and a defensive lineman. So they took 0 running backs. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
All
All
in.
in, dude. All in.
All in.
All in.
baby.
God, that's gonna.
Well-
I hope that's the meme of the year for the Cowboys.
Oh,
It's just
it
all in,
absolutely
dude.
is gonna be.
Every time they lose a game to some dumbass shit, all in, baby.
All in.
All
Dude,
in.
I wanted to say something, but I forgot what it was. So-
Okay.
Cool, man.
Yep.
Because, I mean, yeah, last year the Cowboys.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I was gonna say. It sounds like the Cowboys aren't gonna win the division this season.
I don't think. I mean, first off, they can't because it's magic.
Exactly.
Second off, I don't think they will. I mean, you've got the Eagles who, before they collapsed, were doing pretty well. I would imagine maybe they turn it around. I mean, I would trust them more than the Cowboys this season, to be honest. You have Washington, who now has like a fun young quarterback who knows how he'll be. You have the Giants, who
No Dan Snyder either.
yeah, no Dan Snyder, new coaching staff, and then the Giants. I mean, they could turn it around. They got some new pieces and stuff. Also, the Eagles have Saquon. I forgot. That's kind of insane.
Right. Yeah.
And then the whole NFC North minus maybe like the Vikings. Well, even the Vikings, like you still got Justin Jefferson. The whole NFC North's pretty good. The South, the Falcons are, as much as we're gonna meme on them, they are still probably gonna be contending with Kirk Cousins. The Buccaneers, I think, will still be all right. The Saints, I don't know about the Saints, and then the Panthers probably can't do any worse than last year, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
And then-
technically.
The NFC West, the Cardinals are actually I think going to be better again. So that's good for them. And then the Rams, 49ers will probably both be good still. And then the Seahawks are usually pretty competitive. So, I mean, I think the NFC is going to be more competitive this year. So I think the Cowboys are going to, I don't know if they're going to, it's going to be close for making the playoffs for them, I think. We'll see.
Yeah.
Luckily, they've gone all
Yeah.
in, so they'll probably make it.
They are all in. So
Yeah.
that's a big favor.
And then the only other big roster move I see here, there's probably some I'm missing, but whatever, was the some like fifth-year options picked up, like Kyle Pitts and Travis Etienne Jr., ETN. So,
ETN. Actually, the Jets also picked up the 5th-year option on our only good lineman that we've drafted in the past 4 years,
Oh.
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Well, that's
So
good.
that's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what happened. The Jets traded Franklin Myers, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, for like a 6th rounder or something.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but whatever. We have so many D linemen.
So yeah, and then kind of just some random news. Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason out at CBS, and Matt Ryan is in on the pregame
Really?
show. So,
Out with the old and with the kind of still old.
yep.
Where are they going then?
I
Unclear.
don't know.
Are they like straight up fired? Because like,
Yeah, they just got rid of him.
wow.
I imagine their contracts ran out and they just didn't renew it, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So Phil Simms, glad he's gone. Boomer Esiason, I mean, he was okay, but he's still kind of, I didn't really care. And then,
When your name's Boomer, you eventually just gotta go. You know?
Yeah.
I liked him. I like Boomer Esiason.
Yeah,
he's
I,
fine.
He's
I
all
didn't
right.
like Phil Simms.
I didn't
I
either,
just,
yeah,
I
no.
really don't.
Phil
like
Simms was the worst one. That was the one where I was like, thank God. And then I just saw this. It says, Omar is working. The hashtag Steelers are very close to landing a significant playmaker.
That's BS. Omar went on Pat McAfee today and said that there is no current deal. But he did also say that if a piece, what was the wording? If he can get a piece to make the team better, then they will do it. That is the wording.
Yep.
I think the situation is they would love to take literally any of these receivers if they can get them for the right price, which they probably can't, so they probably won't.
Yeah. No, that's...
I'm sure that they would love Justin Jefferson. They would love. I mean, I heard Devontae Adams' name thrown out there too. Like they would love all of these wide receivers, but I can't afford for any of them. I don't think, and they don't want to give up insane draft capital.
Yeah.
I think they're probably waiting until these teams get a bit more desperate. No one's buying these players right now, so they're probably like, "Hey, we gave you this deal or this offer. If you want it, come take it. Otherwise, you have to find someone else."
Yeah.
I also don't
kinda-
think the Steelers would make a big move like that until they get their QB of the future.
They would at the price that they're offering, I'm sure. I think that's kind of what they're saying is that we have a kind of a low ball offer and we're going to bet that one of these players just will fall into that offer.
Yeah.
But probably not. I don't know. Teams love to overpay for things.
Yeah. They sure do.
Yeah.
And then maybe the most important news, our final story, the Jets have signed Mississippi State linebacker Jet Johnson.
That is great. Yeah. I mean, he was made for us.
He truly was, and there's no way he gets cut in the preseason. No way.
Yeah, no, we bought that. We got that player in the building for the headline and nothing else.
So we had the NFL draft. And
baby.
Let's start up at the top. We had the Chicago Bears make an insane selection that nobody saw coming, where they took Caleb Williams. There it is.
That's right. USC.
USC. Like I said in the pre-draft show, I still don't know what to think about him. Like he's got. You have to watch him play the games and see how well he gets coached up. Because like I still think he'd benefit from sitting a year after watching what I watched, but you never know. You never know what these guys.
Yeah.
It's impossible. No one is going to be able to say what is going to happen. You're going to have half the people going, he's going to be great. Half people are going to be saying he's going to be shit, and one of those will be true, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Or he'll be like a mid Trevor Lawrence type guy. Like there's three options, really.
Yeah.
But you just gonna have to watch him play. Like all the coaching, all the training, none of that's gonna matter when he gets behind that line and sees 5 300-pound dudes running at him at 90 miles an hour. He's either gonna be able to handle it or he won't.
Yeah, and there's people being like, his offensive line sucked. Well, like the Bears' offensive line isn't like very good. Okay,
and he's gonna be up against NFL defensive linemen too.
Yeah, and like these guys they're fast. They know how to read the quarterback. Like, is he going to be able to lead guys with his eyes? Like, is he going to be able to not play hero ball and actually play within the system? Like, there's a lot of questions, and it's questions you just got to wait and see. I mean, it's the same thing with like any of these quarterbacks. Like, you just have to wait and see how they react. I mean, that's why if you could go back in time, people would be like, oh yeah, take CJ Stroud #1, easy. But like, nobody knew back then. If you know what you know now, you're like, oh yeah.
Man, I'm just looking at. Yeah, I'm looking at the Bears QB roster, and he's just going to go day one, huh?
Oh
No,
yeah,
100%.
I think a majority of the quarterbacks picked will be going day one.
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah.
I do not think.
All the first.
Well, not all
Well,
of them.
no, it's true. Not all.
Not all of
Yeah.
them. I do agree that the other 5, yes, will be starting more than likely. The only
Yeah.
one I'm not sure about is what, the Broncos.
Yeah, I guess the
Uh,
Broncos. Even then, their quarterback room is so bad that he might be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you guys seen the Bears quarterback room?
Isn't it just the bagel?
Well, yeah. So you got Caleb Williams,
Yep.
Tyson Bagant,
Yep.
Austin Reed.
Ooh.
Big fan of him.
Cool.
Brett Rippin.
Ooh,
Yep.
right, they got him. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's. Yep.
Well, yeah, obviously he'll be starting, and
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
they're all gonna
experience
be
in that
starting.
room.
I'm so excited to watch all of these quarterbacks because it's just fun watching.
Yeah.
Like we haven't had a year like this since like 2021 or 2020 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think like 2012.
Yeah.
The
right,
last
where
like
it
2
was-
years before this have been like 2 quarterbacks in the first round, and they've all been bad except for Stroud.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I was curious because I kept watching Caleb Williams stuff and I was like, okay, maybe it's just like a thing where he plays the good teams and he does bad, but then he goes to the NFL. So I'm like, there's got to be some other quarterbacks like that. So I went back and I watched CJ Stroud in his bowl game against Georgia. And I was like, let's see how he did. But CJ Stroud literally just looked like how he looks now. And he was like, like number 1 undefeated Georgia. He was like shredding them. He was like carving them down. And I was like, dude, this guy, how did he not go number 1? This guy looked insane against one of the best teams in college football.
Because a certain owner decided to switch the pick.
Yeah. Like,
Did
after
you guys see
watching
that story, by the way?
Oh, yeah. He just
What?
like the David Tepper or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the restaurant thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. For those who didn't see, he went into there was a restaurant
right.
that put a sign up that just said let the GM make the picks, and Pepper walked in and started being a huge loser to the people and like just being an asshole. And it's like, bro, you're a fucking billionaire. What is wrong with you? Other than the fact that you're a billionaire, though, like what is wrong with you?
That's really the main thing, I think.
He's like the Jerry Jones syndrome where he thinks he's like in control. So
He's
it's-
clearly so mad about it too, because like otherwise, why would you go into that restaurant?
Yeah.
like
you just
he
walk
saw
by,
that
like,
sign and was so mad he went there in his like fucking Rolls Royce or whatever, I don't know, fancy ass car,
Yeah,
and just like what a loser. Sorry,
it is
it
hilarious.
was just really
yeah,
funny.
it is funny. But yeah, that's my thing. I can't get past the fact that Caleb Williams didn't do that great towards the end. And again, I think CJ Stroud did have like Marvin Harrison Jr. He had some better receivers, but like I mean, even with that, he looked so much better. So like, I'm curious because you know, it's the Bears.
Yeah.
They don't have a great track record of coaching up quarterbacks, and I hope it goes terribly. But if it does work out, I hope that they become like the Bills and the Packers or the Chiefs, and they keep losing to us in the playoffs, and then it just is funny. So those are my ideal situations.
I have no ill will towards Caleb Williams, and Caleb, if you're listening, I apologize for any critiques here. I also want to note that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but also, I'm also not a believer. He's got all of the skills and all of the athletic abilities
Right.
too. So
That's
like,
what they're banking on, that they can
Yeah.
coach him with that.
right. That's the thing that I'm a little skeptical of. Is it's the Bears, and I'm not sure the instability of the Bears is going to match up well with where his skill level is at right now. But you know, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I've been proven wrong many times before. So
It's also the thing where he's said a lot of quotes that are going to age probably terribly.
oh no, was he a quote guy? I didn't hear any quotes.
He's a quote guy. I think he said he wanted at least 8 Super Bowls.
Oh, okay.
He
Oh
said,
boy.
I don't know if that one was a meme or not, but that he had like a phone screen thing. But the one he did say that I know for sure was they drafted a punter in the 4th round, and he texted him, "Hey, you're not going to be punting that often." So
That he is going to be the punter with the most punts in the league. Not because the Bears
so
will suck,
bad.
but because that's what he said that. Just
Yeah,
that's
it's-
magic.
yeah, so just
You know what? All of these players really need to keep a personal shrine to the football gods in their houses and understand the forces that they are playing with when they say these things.
It's
Did
just
they
because
not
like
see Josh Rosen?
you can
Did they not see
see.
him?
You can see the Reddit thread. Like you see these all the time. Ever since X said this team
Yeah.
has done that, and so you're gonna see that like 5 weeks into the season. It's gonna be ever since Caleb Williams said this, the Bears have punted more than any other team. Like it's just gonna happen.
Here's the thing.
Dude, the Broncos did that with Russell Wilson. They're like, yeah, he's not going to get sacked much here. And he got sacked like 800 times.
Dude, so like here's the other thing. Not only, like Magic aside, which is hard to put the Magic aside, but the
Right.
Magic aside, what is going to happen when you make these kind of bold quotes, because we've seen it with the other guys who have done it, is then, if you got a bad week, it's not just like people in the fan base make it cracking jokes. They're going to go to the press conference, and the reporters are going to bring these things up, and they're going to bring it up over and over again. They're going to give multiple interviews because that's part of their job, right? And then,
Yeah.
and then it's going to get like a worm in their head, and they'll think about it. And then they'll get more of the whatever.
The first game he throws like 4 interceptions. They'll be like, hey, I guess the punter didn't have to punt a lot. You're just throwing him up there. It's going to happen. I mean, it's like the Jerry Jones
sports
all
reporters are they're animals. They're the sports reporters. They don't care. Like they'll continue to. They just want to get a soundbite.
We did it at the start of this episode.
Is this going to get me a 10K like tweet? Like
we did it at the start of this episode with the Jerry Jones all in. Like there's a quote he said.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you put these quotes out there, you got to be ready to like live with the consequences of your action.
But I mean, I will say, for the Jets, their only Super Bowl came after one of these extremely bold quotes, where Joe Namath famously got angry at a reporter who was basically implying that the Jets had no chance of winning. And he said the Jets are going to win, guaranteed it, and walked out of the press conference and held a single finger up. And then they won. But then Magic robbed us of any success after that. They used it all up. So, Caleb Williams, maybe he does get the 8 Super Bowls. And but then he'll use up all of Chicago's magic for the next 1,000 years, probably.
There's like some tweets he made too. Like he said, Dune 2, either you die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And everyone was like, dude, that's Batman. And I don't know if he was being serious. I also don't know what he's talking. Is he saying he's going to become the villain here in Chicago? Is it? I don't know.
Was this after he was drafted?
He might just be talking about Dune 2.
Yeah, but Dune 2 that's a Batman quote.
Wait.
So I'm like,
but
are you saying
is he
Dune as in the game, or
if anything, it
Dune
might be
as
like
in...
spoilers for Dune 2, honestly.
That's true. He might be spoiling it. In which case, what a terrible draft pick. The draft the guy spoiling Dune 2.
Have you guys seen Dune 2?
I've seen Dune 2, yeah.
Oh yeah. He's yeah.
The good guy becomes the bad guy. Spoilers.
Yeah,
sorry, you should have seen it by
that.
now.
Well,
he was also never really the good guy either.
Right. So that's why it's not a huge spoiler, because you should have seen this coming.
I watched old Dune, the David Lynch Dune.
Oh, that one is great.
Yeah.
That's where you have fucking Patrick Stewart, Captain Jean-Luc Picard running into battle with a pug on his chest.
Yeah. Plus, the camera work is literally all David Lynchian-esque, where they just zoom in on somebody and there's no sound. They're just like, the spice must flow. It's zooms in on their lips. You're like, okay.
There's a lot of whispering and stuff. Yeah, it's great. I love that dude. It's so wonderful.
So yeah, that's Caleb Williams. He's got some quotes. We'll see how it goes. I still don't think it'll work out well, and I hope it doesn't as a rival team, but we'll see. We'll see. So then we got Washington taking Jaden Daniels, number 2.
That was my highest rated QB in the draft.
I get why they took him here. I don't know. I think he is more of that electric type of player they probably need in Washington compared to pocket passer type Drake May. So I do think I think it's a better fit him going there, but I'm still I'm a little I don't know on him too. And I think I don't know on him because I'm worried he's going to get injured very fast.
Yeah, that's a distinct possibility. I think he would benefit from bulking up because I was seeing on draft night they were making comparisons with Lamar Jackson, and I don't think that's exactly right. Because he's just Lamar Jackson is kind of like a broke the mold kind of guy, Like Jaden Daniels runs different. He is really fast, though, admittedly, but he's bigger and he's he's just got a different style with how he plays. So I don't know. Yeah, I would worry about injury, but also well, wait, hold on. Was this also the dude that had the 2 ACLs?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's rough.
So yeah, that was Michael Penix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder where he went.
Yeah, I don't know. That's good. I guess we'll find out. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, Washington needs a quarterback. They need some sort of life, and I think
they need lots of things.
This is, I mean, like we mentioned, with all these quarterbacks are such like shots in the dark that you're just kind of like, you have more faith than others. Like, I think, like, even though I'm, bashing Caleb Williams, I mean, he still makes some insane plays. Like, he makes all the insane plays. He can make all the insane throws. So if he learns it and picks it all up and whatever, like, he could be the best quarterback in the draft. But if he doesn't, then, one of these other guys, like Drake May or something, they might be the best because they're just better fit for the NFL or something. Like, we don't know.
Can I make a prediction here?
Sure can.
So I was just looking at the football team's roster.
Yep.
And wide receiver is not great. Real not great.
They lost Curtis Samuel though.
Oh, they lost Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, they I think their top guys like Jamison Crowder and Jahan Dotson. I don't know, maybe this is Kashmir. No, he's a rookie. Yeah, so they picked up a rookie receiver, so that's that could work out, I guess.
Don't they still have Terry McLaurin?
No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, yeah, they do. Never mind.
Yeah, he's definitely the number one.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no, I would say though, because they also went out and they picked up Austin Eckler.
That's a big one,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the running backs, and also they got Zach Ertz on the team.
Oh, that's
so
right.
I'm thinking, yeah, so I'm thinking that this team is gonna go for something closer to a Ravens style offense of like really run heavy, like big packages.
Yeah, I could see that.
Who do they have at running back though?
Well, Austin
Eckler.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I don't know who their other running back. Isn't it
Austin Jones, Jeremy McNichols, Brian Robinson Jr., Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Michael Wiley.
I think Brian Robinson Jr. is pretty good.
Robinson Jr. was the one, right?
Yeah. He's he's from Alabama, third rounder a couple of years ago. I think he like got shot in his leg and then he rehabbed. So he got mugged or something and he got shot. So like he had to rehab from that. And then last year he had 700 yards, 5 TDs. So like it's pretty good.
Yeah. That is pretty solid. Yeah, 4.1 yards per carry.
Yeah. So I mean, him with Eckler, that seems like a decent duo. Like I think Washington actually has a decent shot at being competitive this year. Now, I don't say win the division, but I think they can be competitive.
I mean, I think if Jaden Daniels does well, like if they can do, I mean, if they can run well and they can do like big packages for Jaden Daniels and stuff, then I think they can win this division. Honestly, like it seems kind of up in the air.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, well, honestly, I think it's a good pick still. They were gonna go one or the other, and they went with that one. So plus these guys are also, they scout their personality, they scout so many other things, the fit in their system. They want to run the certain system with the coaches and everything. So he might have just been a better fit for what they're trying to do too.
You know what I miss? Sorry, I just want to bring that.
Yep.
Remember. Now I know the dude's a massive racist, and I don't really miss
Okay, a
him.
classic massive racist comment from Rob. All
Right.
right.
And sure, yeah, but the series of John Gruden's QB camp, do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yep.
That was great. That was really useful
Yeah.
for fan scouting.
Yeah, it was actually fun watching him do that. It was
Mhm.
just, it was John Gruden.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, we didn't know that back then, right? It was
Right.
So, yeah, it was fun watching that, though, and you got to learn a little bit about all the quarterbacks and stuff. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it'd be cool if somebody else did that type of thing. So,
Get Peyton.
yeah, Peyton Manning, let him do that.
Peyton's QB camp. I would fucking watch that.
Yeah, in fact, I think he does a quarterback camp. Cause
Well,
he,
yeah, they have for
oh,
high school, I think.
Well, I think because I remember he talked about Jordan Love being at his quarterback camp.
Yeah,
So
he's I think the whole Manning family has been running that for years now, actually, and yeah, it is a thing. I think it's high school, right?
It probably
I'm pretty
is,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then we got Drake May, New England Patriots.
Drake May.
This does seem like the fit. I always, when you think of the Patriots, you just think of like pocket passer quarterback because of Tom Brady. So I think Drake May does fit that mold the best out of any of the quarterbacks. Like I said, I think he's, even though he is very chaotic and can make a lot of those plays still, I think he's in essence, he's a pocket passer.
Yeah. I mean, he wiggles around quite a lot. He's got a lot of bootleg. I don't remember what. Actually, you know what? I think I still have it open. I do still have it open.
Yeah. From what I looked at, he had the most accurate deep ball out of all the attempts. It was like 70-something% accuracy, which is pretty solid for deep balls.
Yeah, I was saying that I watched him struggle on open checkdowns and
yeah,
yeah, right, yeah, and he's not a great ball carrier when he runs, but he is pretty fast actually.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of his receivers also drop the ball. Quite often. He also is not in a great program. He kind of carried it. So, it's another one of these situations where you're like, how is that going to translate to the NFL? Because he does the thing where he's like, oh, he misses the check down stuff. But whenever I'd watch the tape on a lot of these guys, they would miss the check down. A lot of them are always playing hero ball in college because you can do that because you're talented enough. More talented than the competition. Everyone's a bit slower. You can run around. You can be like, whoop, whoop, whoop. And they're like, wow, look at this guy. And then you try that in the NFL and you're just blown up because everybody's running a 4.3. And that's some 350-pound guys running a 4.5. And you're like, holy shit. So, it's, you don't got that time. And that, unless you're Lamar Jackson or someone insane. But even then, Lamar's, had to, learn over time with passing and get better in a system. And he had Harbaugh design a system fit for him. He had a good coach and a plan and everything. It wasn't just he went to the Panthers and they're like, let this guy run around.
Right. Yeah.
So again, it all does depend on where you go and coaching and everything. So it'll be interesting watching all these guys.
Wide
develop.
receiver room on the Patriots looking a little weak.
Yeah, he should be right at home. He had a terrible college wide receiver.
Yeah.
Guys got, Patriots.
Who's the best? Who? KJ Osborne is probably their best guy. Maybe Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah. Wait,
Juju?
Oh, yeah. Do they still have Juju?
They do, yeah.
24. Yeah, it's... Oh, they drafted Jalen Polk, I believe, wide receiver. Rookie wide receiver.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's something.
Oh, it's a second rounder. All right. So yeah, he's probably going to be either their number 1 or their number 2.
Yeah, do they still have Juju?
Yes.
They do, yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm using the ESPN's draft thing and it's actually really nice. Oh. I won't lie. Yeah, I would recommend it.
I feel like I remember hearing that Juju's knee is dead or something.
It probably is.
Might be, yeah. I mean, he only had 260 yards with them last season.
Yeah, granted.
I remember it being a whole thing where Right when they signed him, someone on, I think some reporter was like, "This is a dumb signing. Like he like provably like he's so injured that he will not be able to play within like a couple of years." And I was like, "That's a bold claim, but like it seems like it might be true."
Yeah.
In fact, I see here it says Juju Smith-Schuster feels like a cut candidate after the draft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not looking great there. And then their running back, dude, sleeper pick Ramondre Stevenson, still at number 1. He's still going.
Well, they got Antonio Gibson, right? That was their
Oh yeah, that's right.
pickup.
Yeah. So, I don't think they're gonna be making any big strides in the division, but it'll probably take a year or two for them to start. Because I mean, listen, it's still the Dolphins, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, who hopefully plays a game.
If he plays,
And,
yes.
the Bills still have Josh Allen, so I can't see the Patriots beating out all of those, but we'll see.
Be real mad about it if they did.
New
coach too, Gerard Mayo, right?
Yeah, they got Gerard Mayo, so new era in New England. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. That's a pretty good one.
Really good.
Kyler Murray finally has someone he can throw to again. That's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about the Cardinals, honestly, until I see them next season, because who knows, man? They were pretty bad.
Right now, their wide receiver room still like Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Zach Pascal, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
So yeah, they still.
I think their top 3 are Marvin Harrison Jr., Greg Dortch, and Michael Wilson.
Yeah. I thought you were just gonna say Marvin Harrison Jr. 3 times.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if he's that good, and he does seem very, very good.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they'll be better still, but yeah, that wide receiver core outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. is a little. I don't know. No, I'm not too confident.
I mean, that is how the Cardinals do it historically with Larry Fitzgerald, right? Just have one guy who's a god.
They got James Conner running back. That's still good.
Yeah.
They drafted Trey McBride, tight end. He was like one of the best tight end prospects last year. I think he did all right. So, I mean, he could be, he could develop into like a little Kelsey situation. Obviously, he's not going to be Travis
825 yards last season. That's high end tight end kind of situation.
Yeah, so I'm sure they'll go with him. So if anything, he's probably the number 2 wide receiver at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I do think they'll be better, but it's just a matter of how much better. And I guess we'll find out. Then the Chargers draft Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. That's the first Harbaugh pick. And I'm sure Justin Herbert's very happy that he might not get his ribs shattered and fucking spleen broken or whatever. That'll probably help.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah. Offensive line's always the they get picked and everyone's like, that's pretty cool, but like nobody really knows that much about offensive linemen.
Yeah. And also they don't know about them even when they get into the NFL either, because there's no stats that get tracked with them.
They're like, he's got good footwork, he doesn't give up sacks. And you're like, okay, cool. But it seems like he was the number 1 offensive lineman in the entire draft. So it's going to the Chargers. Then we had the Giants take Malik Neighbors from LSU, who I've heard some people actually said he was the best player in this draft. Like I legit heard that, over all the quarterbacks. So that's some high praise right there. But I think that's very nice for the Giants, who I remember last year we looked at their receivers and laughed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it now, it's pretty much just Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess Gunnar Olszewski. He was pretty decent.
No.
No, he was
horrible.
He didn't do anything last year.
He actively fucked our team over last year, and we cut him because of it.
A lot of people comp Neighbors to, I see Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, and Antonio Brown. Funnily enough.
Okay.
But without the Antonio Brown antics.
Okay. Actually, I was gonna ask, who's the who's the starting QB, but I see a latest news: Giants sticking with Daniel Jones at QB in
That's
2024.
not surprising, I don't think.
Yeah. They got Drew
No,
Lock.
no, it's not.
Drew Lock
They
is the
did.
backup now with Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
So
The
that's
Stallion.
quite the quarterback room.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have Jalen Hyatt, who when did they take Jalen Hyatt last year? Jalen
I have no idea.
Hyatt. Giants, Jalen Hyatt. Dude, I know like nothing about these. He was a 3rd round pick 2023. 373 yards, 0 touchdowns. Okay, that's not very good. So maybe he gets better.
Looks like
Yeah.
the Giants also took a tight end in the 4th round named Theo Johnson. So they got those were their, and I guess they took a 5th round running back, but that was their offensive stuff. They actually took half as many, or half of their picks were offense, half of their picks were defense.
Oh yeah, it looks. Well balanced draft for them.
Yeah, but I would think their offense needs more work than their defense, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
However, they draft Tyler Nubbin, Minnesota safety in the 2nd round because the Packers took their good safety away from them. Thank God. So now we have a good safety, so that's fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, I don't know. The Giants, I'm not confident in the Giants still. Plus, they lost Saquon Barkley, as we mentioned earlier. So their running back is Devin Singletary.
Oh.
So that's the football player.
I mean, he had 898 yards last season. That's pretty good.
It's good. He's not Saquon Barkley. Like, he's not like, oh man, we got a game plan around this guy. Like, he's like, okay, whatever. So the Giants could always pull a Giants like they did the other year and go on a run. Then you're just like, wow, look at them go. Because I do think their defense is good. Like, they still have, they traded for Brian Burns, who's good. They got Dexter Lawrence. They got Kayvon Thibodeau, who's the 1st rounder last year. Like, they got a lot of good defensive players. I mean, you never know. If anything, they probably could be like the Jets, where it's just kind of like they lean on their defense and then their offense is okay and they're just kind of boring. Which, that sounds like New York football.
Yeah, baby.
So then we had the Tennessee Titans take J.C. Latham, awesome offensive tackle, Alabama. This one makes sense because I keep saying I watched that one Titans Colts game last year, and the Titans had maybe the worst offensive line I've ever watched in football. It was so bad. Will Levis was like, every single play, there was like a guy in his face within like a second. Like, it was so bad. I was like, how are they so bad? It was like, it was impressively bad. And I've watched some bad offensive lines, but like it was terrible. So anybody on that line's gonna help. So I get that.
On paper, they got a pretty good receiving core.
Oh yeah, they got Calvin Ridley, right?
Yeah, Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins. Treylon Burks, too.
Calvin Ridley was unimpressive last year for a lot of games.
That's true. Let's see this. I mean, he had over 1,000 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. Like,
yeah, but like, to look at the distribution on those yards per game, it was like he got like 200 yards one game and then 0 yards the next, and then
Apollo knows because he was on his fantasy team.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So,
Oh, they have a man named Julius Chestnut as their running back.
Then they have Lloyd Cushenberry the third at center.
That is wonderful.
And they got Tony Pollard from the Cowboys, so they got a better running back room than the Cowboys. Yeah. So I mean, it's also the AFC South, so you never know.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think they're going to be terrible, but I think they got some development with Will Levis and everybody.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I don't have anything negative against the Titans. I think the Titans are fun. I always like their logo. I like the cool like Tennessee thing with the flame stuff. Titans.
Yeah, I do wish that they had a better logo, in fairness.
I don't know. I just liked it.
I mean, why is a Titan on fire? Also, why not just have a Titan? You know what I mean? Like, it's such a cool thing.
It would be cooler if they did just have like an actual Titan or something. Yeah.
Yeah, a Titan isn't a T in a circle. It's a large man. Those are cool.
Yeah, they really should do something like that.
Yeah, like when you walk into the stadium, the Titan Stadium, you should walk through the Colossus of Rhodes legs. You know? That's all I'm saying. Put a little showmanship on it.
I will say their mascot is T-Rack the raccoon. And I don't know why a raccoon is their mascot when they're Titans, but
yeah,
I mean, it's all right. He's all right.
Very confused people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how some teams just choose their mascot. Then they also have Titans hires superhero mascot who's legit dressed as a Titan. That was back in 2017. So they must have let him go.
he wasn't.
The Marvel really stuff really died out.
You know what? I like T-Rack. We need the ranked mascots. I think that's going to be a vital important NFL mascots.
I think the Jets mascot is just like a cartoon jet.
Is it? Hold on. I'm going to post this in the Foos and Balls. There's like an image of all the mascots. So you can kind of see. You got Chomps, you got Blue, there's T-Rack, you got Who Day on the Bengals.
I need a tier list for this. Look at the Commanders. It's just they don't have one. The
Commander helmet. Or they got the pig guy now. They got the.
Oh yeah, no, they do have the pig guy. This is out of date.
Yeah,
it's the same for the Jets. The Jets have a jet mascot.
Yeah, so
jet
maybe
mascot.
This might be a lot of the Toro, Rory, TD the Dolphin. Kind of looks a little freaky from there. he's planning something. I like Billy the Buffalo. He seems cool.
I swear to God, I saw a fucking man in a jet suit. Maybe I just hallucinated that.
It might, if you were watching a Jets game, you might have just been hallucinating.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. I like Sir Purr with the Panthers.
Sir Purr and Jackson DeVille are both. For some reason, the Cats really bring it home.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean, Cat's an easy winner, you know?
Yeah.
Just, that's solid.
Jackson DeVille's also just insane. Like, he just does crazy shit.
Yeah. Rampage the Ram seems cool. He's literally just a ram.
Yeah.
I like that.
We really need in the NFL, we need a, what was that? It was the hockey mascot from Philadelphia, right?
Oh, yeah, the orange guy.
Yeah. That one, we need one of those kind of guys in the NFL. The like, these are pretty cool, but they're all mostly kind of boring.
Yeah. The one I think I hate the most is just Sourdough Sam, because he's just like some guy in a hat. Like, he's a gold miner, I get it, but like it's just kind of boring.
All of the dudes suck. Like Sir Sam, Sourdough Sam, Pat Patriot, even I'll say Steel McBeam, terrible. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain Fear is okay.
Rowdy is straight up Doug Dimmadome, dude.
He is.
Yeah.
Dude, why is the Cowboys mascot Rowdy the Cowboy? Like, it feels like Jerry Jones just made a mascot of himself in his like 30s. He's I'm the Rowdy Cowboy. Watch out, I'm coming for you. Like, it's just freaky. They could literally have like a cow. They could have just
a boy.
But not a cowboy.
Yeah, no. Not a cowboy.
That's absurd.
I don't know. Anyway, so that's the Titans draft.
Get him a Minotaur. Oh, that'd be sweet.
That would be sick if they had a Minotaur. Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, you can just do that for no reason. It's like how the Phoenix Suns got a gorilla mascot. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You just pick some random shit. So then we had the Falcons. That was
a very normal pick, I think, for them, considering their greatest needs in the draft.
So there's a lot of issues with this pick.
Numerous
issues. So my first issue would be that you just paid Kirk Cousins an absurd amount of money, which to me indicates that you're going all in, right? You're like, we're going to go
all
win.
In, baby.
You're going all in. So you would think, let's surround Kirk Cousins with some weapons. You had Roma Dunze right there. That seems like a pretty good weapon you get for him to go along with like Drake London and Darnell Mooney. But they then take Michael Penix Jr.
QB.
Which, first off, Michael Penix is an older prospect already.
He's the oldest. Is the big one.
Yeah. Like, he's already 23, and he'll be 24 in 2 weeks. So, to put that into perspective, Jordan Love is 25, and he sat for 3.5 years.
To put that into perspective, Sam Darnold is 25.
Yeah. So, like, there's some dudes as old as him that have been in the NFL for years. So that alone is like, okay, so he's going to sit, which, like, I don't have a problem with him sitting. But I think if he's going to sit, it'd be like a sit for 1 year type of thing. Like, all right, 1 year, you're in. Like, this isn't like a multiple year sit. But if you're going all in with Kirk Cousins, you just paid him all this money. Are you just using him for 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and you know what? There were reports pretty much immediately that Kirk Cousins was blindsided by this pick, that they didn't tell him ahead of time. Which, by the way, for it to come out immediately like it did, because it came out on draft night, means that it was Kirk Cousins and his camp that leaked that info, right? That they were blindsided by it. So, so Kirk Cousins is clearly unhappy with the whole thing. And think about it. When he was shopping around for teams, Atlanta probably was telling him things like, "Yeah, we're going to go all in on you.
We got a high draft pick,
right? Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's not just they didn't tell him; they probably straight up lied to his ass before he signed the contract.
Yeah,
it's just like, I get it. Like, I get what they were thinking. It's stupid, but I get that they were thinking the stupid thing. Like, they went one level deep and then just didn't think about like the repercussions or the third level. Like, it's like, they're okay. We signed this big quarterback, lots of money. Like, we should go all in. Everyone's thinking, okay, yeah, we got to get a receiver or some defender or just a top prospect to fill our team. But they were like, no, wait, let's think about it a little bit harder. What if
best player available?
What if we get a quarterback so that when we win, we will have a quarterback when we won't have a high draft pick? And it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, but first off, no guarantee you're going to win. That's not how this works. I'm sorry. Like, you might think you're going to win, you might expect you are, but like, maybe you would have had a better chance of winning if you fucking drafted a good draft pick instead of a quarterback. maybe then, yeah, but you just shot yourself in the foot for no reason.
Can I also say, can I just point out so they didn't help Kirk Cousins with the first pick in their draft, right? Mm-hmm. What did they do with the rest of the draft? After the QB in the second round, they went defensive tackle. In the third round,
thing, they needed defense, so they should have drafted defense in the first round. Like,
I mean, I would argue that they still need offense too, especially in the modern NFL. I mean, I'm looking at their roster and like, they got Bijan Robinson and Drake London is good, but
Kyle Pitts is good. But there's like
Pitts is good.
They were not fiending for offense. Right. Like, they needed defense. They had a hole at defensive tackle, I think, or edge or something.
Yeah,
and Dallas Turner was on the board or something.
Went
like
defensive tackle, edge, defensive tackle, linebacker, running back, wide receiver, defensive tackle.
Which I think is my issue here is like, you have all these holes at defense, and you're at the 8th spot where numerous teams like the Vikings, Broncos, Raiders all want to move up to get a quarterback. Wouldn't you be like, hey, what if we trade down and then we wait and see if a quarterback falls to us there if we really want Michael Penix?
Yeah, no one was going to draft. Who was going to draft Michael Penix besides them? Like, maybe the Raiders?
Yeah, well, I guess Raiders or Broncos. But even then, you could it's just, you could probably move down to even like the Jets they probably could have traded with the Vikings.
But you also didn't need a quarterback. You
didn't need a quarterback.
Oh my God.
Like, that's the crazy part. Like, you don't need a quarterback. Like,
it's very strange.
And so you could have like accumulated assets, you build up your team, And then if things aren't working out with Kirk Cousins, maybe like next year or the year after that, then you take a quarterback and you're like, okay, now Cousins is in like the final years of his contract. Now we have a guy sit and learn behind them. Cool. But and I want to say with they're trying to do the Packer thing, right? Like they're like, I know, we'll do what the Packers did because they've done it twice now. And so the issue with that is number one, we didn't randomly sign Aaron Rodgers in free agency to be our quarterback and then draft a guy literally like a month later. That's number one. Number two was Aaron Rodgers was coming off like some mediocre seasons. So he looked like he was on the decline. So they were like, hey, you know what? We're picking like 26th. It's not like we're number 9 or whatever the shit, 8. Yeah, it was like we're in the 20s. Like, hey, this guy looks like a pretty good prospect. They traded up like a couple spots and got Jordan Love because they're like, man, he looks like he could be a really good prospect. We'll have him sit and learn. Like, it's almost like Caleb Williams' situation. Like, he had all the tools of like the arm and everything, but like this dude needs to learn like how to just be a quarterback, like in general. So they're like, all right, we'll take the risk. But it was like, okay, I mean, sure, they could have probably picked more weapons for Rodgers, but like at that point, Rodgers did look like he was declining. Like a lot of people forget that. And I think that pick actually made Aaron Rodgers play better. Because you could tell, like, this might surprise you. Aaron Rodgers is a bit of a diva. So I think them doing that kind of sparked something and I'm like, oh, you don't believe in me, huh? Well, I'm going to show you. And then he just like played hard. Like I would bet money that happened. You know that got to Aaron Rodgers like quite a bit. So you had that. And then it's just, again, Jordan Love was like 20, right? So like Michael Penix is already a bit older for a quarterback. So it's just, there's so many bad things about this pick. Yes.
Can I posit an alternative theory to the ones you guys have had so far? All right. So maybe the Falcons did want to trade out and they knew that the Vikings wanted to trade up for a QB, or maybe even the Broncos.
Right.
But they wouldn't trade with them because they were like, you're not going to take a QB. You just got a QB. We'll just wait. And they were like, no, we're totally going to take a QB. And in order to save their reputation and not look like they were bluffing, took a QB and surprised both the Vikings and the Broncos.
It is possible.
Eat that, Vikings and Broncos fans.
I mean, it is very possible the Falcons watch Michael Penix and they're like, you know what? We love this guy. Like, we don't care. We're going to take him.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. It's just, it's weird when you just devoted all this money to Kirk Cousins.
You know what it looks like? It looks like, to me, based on nothing at all, pulled entirely out of my ass. This is how the rumor mill starts. If I had more of a following, this would be Tweet Central.
Yeah.
But like that, what that looks like to me is that the GM had one idea and the owner had another idea.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what kind of when things like this happen, that's what it looks like. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with you there. I think it is kind of like a clash between owner and GM. Also, the funny part here is that the Falcons general manager, I don't know if it's just him or if he's part of a duo manager thing, but it's the old Bears one that took Mitch Trubisky.
Right? Yeah.
So just really great stuff. I don't have a lot of faith in him after, watching what he built in Chicago, but they did it.
Yep.
That's what it is. I also hate it because then the Bears got to take Rome Odunze, which I thought was a very good pick that I did not want the Bears to have. And
I don't
the
think
Falcons
they expected to get it.
No, I don't think many people thought that. But they got it. So now the Bears actually do have a good receiving core, at least top 3, because they have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and then you got Odunze at the 3. So like on paper, that's pretty good. I will say if you have any injuries, which there's going to be injuries over the course of a season, then your backups are like Velus Jones Jr., who I know Bears fans hate. There's Tyler Scott and Colin Johnson. So not the greatest depth there. So that's kind of the issue. Like the
Pretty
top three are
decent tight
good.
ends.
I mean, Cole Kmet's all right. I think he gets overhyped a lot. I think he's good.
He got 800 yards last season. That's solid.
Yeah, I mean, he's not bad. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying
yards.
He's good. Yeah. Like he's a top 15 tight end, but I don't think he's like a top 5, top 10 tight end. Like he's good.
Right.
And then you've got Gerald Everett, who was with the Chargers. So I think did pretty all right actually. Gerald Everett. He had like 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he's all right. So I mean, that's okay. And then I still don't know about their offensive line. I think Tevin Jenkins is pretty good. I think Darnell Wright was a draft pick last year, is pretty good. But like I think center and guard is still, center right guard with Nate Davis. I don't know about Nate Davis, and then Braxton Jones. I don't remember him being that. I don't remember enough about Braxton Jones, but I don't know. And then running back, you had DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert. Like, it's all right.
Yeah.
I think DeAndre Swift is good when he's healthy. I keep saying that, but
they're running back by committee.
Yeah,
that'll be good.
Yeah, in fact, they got like 4 running backs you can kind of cycle through. So they got Travis Homer, who was with Seattle. They got Roschon Johnson, who was a draft pick last year, and you got Khalil Herbert. So.
And I think, honestly, so Roschon Johnson got 4.3 yards per carry last season. So I wish they used him more, especially since he was on my fantasy team. but he only had 350 yards, and that was his rookie year. So he might even get more of a role this season.
Yeah. I'm sure he will, especially because I'm sure they want to set up like play actions and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. I mean, on paper, I think they look good. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they could. If everything works out for them, I think they can compete for like a wild card spot. That's like if Caleb Williams progresses, looks good, like everything kind of works out, no injuries, that type of thing. But we'll see. Their defense, I mean, looks pretty good. They got Jalen Johnson's really good, like a top corner. Jaquan Brisker was pretty good. Kevin Byard they signed at safety. Yeah. They still got TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, their defense pretty solid. They got Montez Sweat still.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's going to come down to just injuries and seeing how Caleb Williams develops and if their offensive line holds up or if their wide receivers are healthy. So we will see. Then we had the Vikings. And they saw that Michael Penix was drafted, and they were like, oh, shit. And they took J.J. McCarthy.
They weren't bluffing.
So I still think J.J. McCarthy is just very much an okay quarterback, where he's not bad, he's not amazing, he's just okay. And it depends, like, if he can kind of develop and grow into a quarterback that's at least good at some things, like above average, then I think maybe you get a starter going forward. But like right now, he almost feels like that stereotypical backup quarterback where he's just kind of a good enough guy where you're like, he can play, but like he's not amazing at anything.
Can I tell you guys what I'm excited about for the Vikings this season?
What?
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is going to... Like, I don't think J.J. McCarthy's probably not going to start right away, right? Since they have Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. Why?
Well, they could be. It could be one of those situations where they, in the off season, they run the stories where it's like J.J. McCarthy's beating out Sam Darnold in camp, kind of thing.
Right.
Look, I've seen this play out before. Okay, here's what happens. You start Mitchell Trubisky. Everyone's like, what? I mean, okay, I guess. Okay. 4 weeks and you're like, wow, yeah, he's still the same guy. Like, what? Nothing's changed. Can we watch the new guy, please? Can't be any worse. And then after like 2 more stubborn weeks, you play the new guy. And he ends up being better, but not good enough.
So I do think that, like J.J. McCarthy will start eventually this season, but yeah, Sam Darnold is going to start as the bridge. However, I just want to say this is definitely the best receiving core. This is the best offense Sam Darnold's ever been a part. Well, has ever had been able to start on.
Yeah, because he was with the 49ers. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be excited to see what he does with Justin Jefferson and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, you have TJ Hawkinson and Aaron Jones. Like, you
Yeah.
have a proven offense. You know they can, all those guys are good. So, like, if they're not doing well, it's probably on you.
Yeah.
I would just much rather take a chance with someone you don't know is going to be good or bad than someone you know will likely be bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are benefits though to having the first round pick not start immediately, to sit a couple of weeks because they're probably not going to compete this season.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
but think of all the names you just listed. They should kind of, with an offense like that, they should be competing.
They should. Yeah. I mean,
like,
team...
what if JJ McCarthy comes out week 1 and he gets spooked by the lights and has a bad game?
Then he's
and then
not
he
a good quarterback.
Yeah. If you come out and you're just like, the lights are too bright, then I don't know why you're here in the NFL.
Well, I mean, look, we were just talking about Jordan Love sitting for 3 years or whatever, right?
Right, but he sat behind an MVP Hall of Fame quarterback. Bro's gonna be sitting behind Sam Darnold.
Sitting behind the Darnold, I'll have you know. No, but I mean, like, even still, like, being able to, like, see from the sidelines.
I don't want him seeing what anything Sam Darnold's gonna do. That might be actively, like, bad for him.
No, I mean, see the whole procedure of the whole thing.
I think we both oversell and undersell college football. Like, yes, college football is remarkably worse than NFL in terms of like quality of play, but it's still, in terms of hype and pressure, it is almost the same. These players are going out in front of massive crowds of tens of thousands of people, broadcast to millions on TV, and they have conference. Like, the pressure's already there. I don't think the pressure between the NFL and college changes much media wise. Like, quality of play wise, absolutely, but college football is massive.
Probably depends on the school you're going. Like, he did go to Michigan and play in like the championship and all that stuff, so he's probably more used to it than say like Drake May or somebody. Also,
like, it is just totally like when you're playing in college, most of his fans that are going to be in the stadium and who he hangs out with are all going to be like, kids around his age and stuff, right? When you go into the NFL, then you got like dumpy fucks like me who are just tired of and jaded by all the years.
You do not respect alums enough watching their old football teams.
Oh well, I mean that's fine. They're gonna watch, but it's still a different crowd. Like,
you're also really going to get to know some players because, like, when you're in college, I actually learned this today because they were talking about this on the Bear Radio about Caleb Williams, where they said there were some of the games where Caleb Williams did terrible. He did not talk to the media after. Like, he just didn't show up. And you can't do that in the NFL. You can, but you'll get fined and looked down upon by everybody because the post-game interviews are sponsored. So they're making money.
Yeah.
The quarterback is obligated. Like, they have to do the post-game interview. So, like...
I mean, he could get fined. Marshawn Lynch used to get fined all the time for his post-game interviews.
That was Marshawn Lynch, though.
Yeah.
That's Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, and quarterback, I think, is different. Like, Marshawn Lynch, they're like, he's the crazy beast mode running back. Like, your quarterback is like, this man represents your team. Right? Yeah. Like, that is your team. And so when he's not showing up or not doing, then everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's not a good look. Right? And then you got people like Colin Cowherd and fucking, all the other talking heads like, is he really cut out for this? So
well, yeah, and all the rest of your teammates are also a grown ass adult men, right? Like, that's compared to like your locker room of kids, that you've been around in college forever.
And it's like you're around people your own age, like you were saying. And, you like the same things. You like all that. And you're just like, hey, what's up, fellow kids? And then they're like, greetings, fellow kid. That's how they talk.
Right, yeah.
And then, then you're talking to like people our age are like 40 years old. And they're they've been in this
like
business.
A guy sitting in the corner smoking a cigar. It's dimly lit, is like, I've been in the league 10 years, son. I seen
old sea pirate in the corner.
Right,
Yar, let me tell you the tale of Super Bowl 22.
They got doll, black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
I just think that after watching Kenny Pickett and like just every snap matters in trying to evaluate whether or not a quarterback is good.
Right.
And having to waste that on a bad OC or waiting for the quarterback that will inevitably be the backup have to play his mandatory 4 to 6 weeks of starting games because we don't want our brand new baby boy to be scared. Like I hate it. It's a waste of time in my eyes. If you're gonna sit him and go, okay, go learn from this good quarterback, that's fine. But if you're just sitting him because you're scared, that's a waste of time.
Well, again, I don't think it's necessarily that they're scared. It's just that, you give him the ability to.
Scared.
Well,
you mean like learning the offense?
Yeah, you give him the ability.
That's what training camp's for.
But yeah, that's also like you're
sure, but again, in-game situation is different, right? Like, and
that's
being
what
able
preseason's for.
Not really,
Well,
because again, in-game situation is different, right? Like preseason.
I know.
I
think that unless you're going to train your boy, then throw him into that frying pan, because otherwise you're gonna have to throw him in eventually anyway.
Yeah,
I don't think that first start's gonna feel much different whether or not you sat or not. Like I think you're still gonna be like, holy shit, it's my first start either way.
I think you do get to a point where it's like some people be like, oh, if you throw him in there and he gets rattled and he's like, and you ruin him, then what? But like if that happens, then he's probably not cut out for the NFL.
If anything, I think Jordan Love had to deal with a much more stressful situation, because there's so much more expectations for Jordan Love. Okay, motherfucker, you sat for like 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers. You better come out and be good. And he wasn't good when he came out, and he got fucking ass blasted by the media for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least with a rookie, you're like, okay, you're a rookie. We'll give you some time to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So a counterpoint with recent examples, one, obviously Jordan Love, which we've talked about, but also Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes sat for more than a year.
Right.
Like all of those guys did have this thing, right, where they sat for at least a couple of games. So
Josh Allen,
I don't know. It could be
Josh Allen also didn't do well when he played after sitting. Like it took him play.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the sitting wasn't necessarily the difference there, because CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, they came in and were just good.
Well, yeah, but that's like you're talking about extreme exceptions to the rule here.
I don't think those are exceptions though, because they didn't sit. I think they're exceptions because good quarterbacks are exceptions anyway. I just don't.
So you think that if Pat Mahomes day one took over Alex Smith's job, would have done just as well?
Probably. I think so. Yeah.
I think long term he would have done just as well.
I mean, his skill did not come from sitting for a year. I mean, I think you're saying that there may have been a moment where he got like ruined, and I think he could have gotten ruined if he was on the Browns.
Yeah.
He was on the Chiefs. Like he had Andy Reid, didn't he, on his first year? Like, he was never going to get ruined.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the Browns,
I don't think he's going to get
Bears,
ruined. I just think that like there is some benefit to, like for like Pat Mahomes' first year, he sorry, I just smelled like smoke.
Okay.
But anyway, no. Anyway, you get experience of just watching, viewing something. It's a different kind of experience than playing. I agree, though, that practical experience is very important. I'll be right back. I'm going to see if my house is burning down.
All right. But yeah, I think you are right with you can see it with the Jordan Love comparison, because like as somebody who expected him to be good, because you're like, I've watched quarterback play for 30 something years be good. This guy better be good. Like you have those high expectations. You're coming after this guy everybody loves, that they've been like, he's been here for so long. And then, and then you get compared to that for your entire career now. It's not like CJ Stroud where he comes in and he's like, wow, this guy's gonna be really good for the Texans. Like he's right. They're just like, yeah, Jordan Love came in, he put up the same numbers as CJ Stroud and like won a playoff game, but like we'll see long term how long. It's just like he's doing the same thing CJ Stroud did. It's just the situation is just different because he's in Green Bay and people are like, is he gonna win a Super Bowl now? Is he gonna win more than Rodgers did? Like you always have that over your head. So it really does depend on where you go. Much like how a guy goes to the Bears, and it's not just like, this guy's like, that's like the complete opposite. They're just like, we never had a good quarterback. You're the one, right? You got to be the one, right?
This time.
Yeah. And so if you're not, like, if that's the thing I think worries me if I am a Bears fan, but I'm not, so I don't care. is if this guy comes out and he's not ready and he just starts playing badly, that's the type of situation where the city starts turning on you like, you were supposed to be the chosen one, Anakin. Like, everyone's just like, and like, you don't know, like, is his mental gonna be good enough to handle that? Is he gonna start like trying to overcompensate? Is he gonna, like, you don't know. And like, those are the situations that can make or break somebody based on where they go.
True.
So the end of the day,
I just like from a fan's perspective, I don't want to watch Sam Darnold. Show me the new guy. I want to have a reason to watch the Vikings, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Well, I also, it's a rival team, so I don't care. But I get
No,
it.
that's fair.
It's the, these are my Ravens and Bengals compared to you.
No, true. I enjoyed watching Burrow play.
Yeah. Like, I still enjoy I like watching the Lions. I enjoy watching Justin Jefferson because he's good, or like now Aaron Jones is there. He's there out of spite, but he's there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. But you never know.
One more quarterback to go, right?
Yep. We may as well talk about him because the Jets pick next and Rob's house is burning down.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Well, we had Bo Nix go to the Broncos, and this was probably the least exciting of the quarterbacks.
Because it was the required one. You could basically, they got the scraps.
Yeah. Like I said, he just seems like a very game manager type of quarterback. 30% of his throws were behind the line of scrimmage in college. So the Chicago Bears special from 2023.
I still think that is a potentially scary kind of quarterback, though, because look, everyone loves the guy who can bomb it downfield 50 yards, 60 yards. You know, your Josh Allens, but like.
Right.
If he can come in and be like, I understand the game and I'm going to get the ball where it needs to go, like that's a potentially scary quarterback. Is he going to be scary? Who fucking knows? I don't know. You don't know. No one knows.
Tom Brady won like four rings with Dink and Dunk.
Yeah, the old Dink and Dunk. Like it can genuinely wear down an offense because you're like when you're wear down a defense. It'll probably wear down the offense too.
Yeah.
But like when you're just slowly marching down the field, like up 4 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, you're just like, come on, man, like let's go. Like you just start breaking. But then if you get like especially a lot of these guys where you're like, they got the arm talent, right? Like I've seen it with Rodgers, you see it with Favre, I saw it with Jordan Love last year, right? They're just like, dude, I can make this throw, and then they fucking do the cross body, cross the field, woo! And one game you're like, wow, he did it, and the next game you're like, holy shit, the game's over because of that. So you never know, but more the conservative guys, they're just more like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit, and they're just like taking what the defense gives. But it's the Broncos, so.
But and he will likely be starting too.
Yeah, he got Zach Wilson will start.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton's probably like, I can fix this guy, even though he couldn't fix Russell Wilson. So
I really do not understand what Sean Payton's up to over there in Broncos land.
Yeah, I did see Bo Nix said Broncos country, let's go.
No. Oh no.
That was pretty funny.
New meeting, boys. Hot off the presses.
Oh man, this guy is either gonna be. It feels like he's gonna be really good, like some crazy like draft gem. Like he'll be one of those, like not Tom Brady, but just a
I look at his
quarterback, or he'll be like Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, I look at his position. I'd be like, man, is this gonna be like? One of these has got to be like, wow, look at this quarterback was good. Look at all the teams that skipped on him to draft these other quarterbacks that are middle.
Right, yeah.
This is one of those situations where I'm like, just based on where he was picked, I'm like, is this going to happen,
Right.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could also be one of the guys that got picked after, a bajillion years. But also I want to say, Bo Nix, he's got one thing going for him, which is that if he were famous and successful, Bo Nix would be a pretty cool name for a famous quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. It is a cool name. That's like if you go back to the 2016 draft, we had Jared Goff, then we had Carson Wentz, and then we had Paxton Lynch. So,
oh boy, yeah,
quite the drop off. So it could be one of those. You don't know.
True.
But yeah, and then those were the first round quarterbacks. But the Jets took an offensive lineman, Rob.
We did, and I am happy about it.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know very much about him because I've seen a lot of offensive linemen come in and out of this building.
Yep.
No disrespect to you, Mr. Fashanu, but I'll see what you do on the field. No, but I mean that it's good. I'm happy. I'm happy in general with the draft. Again, whether or not they hit the picks or not is one thing, but they did focus pretty heavily on offense in the draft.
Yes.
Because the Jets, as you friends both know,
Yep.
do not have a second round pick for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we just had a bonus one this year, so that was really weird how that worked out.
But in the third round, we ended up taking Malachi Corley, which I, was seeing very, very good things about, actually. And apparently this is a deep wide receiver class, so that's cool.
Got a running back, too.
Yeah, we got Braylon Allen. We did end up taking a quarterback as well in the fifth round. Jordan Travis. Didn't see much of him, but
I do remember he was with Florida State, and I remember people were like, this guy's great, and then he got hurt, and then they got blown out in their bowl game or something. So he did make a difference.
That's right. I remember seeing, now I'm remembering the draft threads where I was seeing some people saying like, oh yeah, he was a good QB that only dropped because of injury. So
yeah,
that's great news. I would be happy with that. See, he could have a potential Jordan Love type situation where he sits for a couple of years behind Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He
Aaron
gets
Rodgers
to experience
getting replaced by a Jordan again.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's actually true. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And then we got Isaiah Davis, who has no picture on ESPN. Quantez Stiggers, which is just a great name.
Yep.
And who also doesn't have.
It also just says cornerback Canada. So he just came out of Canada. They just found him out in the woods. It's like, dude.
Oh, that's actually really funny. Quantez Stiggers was from the Toronto Argonauts.
Oh,
which is the CFL team.
Yeah.
How does that? You can.
I guess you can just go to the draft.
Was it a free agent signing?
No,
no. He was fifth round. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know how that
works.
works.
I guess you can declare. I guess anybody can declare for the draft when you think about it.
Well, I think you have to be. Don't you have to be in an NCAA institution?
I don't know. Actually, who can declare for the NFL draft?
Yeah, because like normally, like a CFL player, that would just be a free agent, right? Like,
yeah, it's players must have been out of high school for 3 years. And that's all I see, actually.
Oh, okay. So I guess,
Yeah, I don't know. So technically, he was.
All right, boys, I'm declaring for the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also going to declare for the draft. We'll see if any of us get picked up. Can regular people go to the NFL draft? All adults are required to register, but wait, what the hell is this? I just clicked on Google. Welcome to the NFL draft presented by Bud Light. All adults are required to register, but can also register up to 5 children to get into the event. I think they're talking about going to the draft.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at his Wikipedia now, and actually, he just didn't go to college. He just went right out of high school to the CFL.
This said, in the NBA, a guy did declare, some random dude declared for the NBA draft, and they sent him a letter that said, you were eligible for the draft immediately following your senior year, and you are now a free agent who is eligible to sign with any team.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you pretty much can, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're all technically free agents.
Yeah. But you're not gonna get drafted. So that's pretty funny. So cool. Then we had the Raiders take Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. I think he's supposed to be pretty good.
He was
So-
supposed to be
so-
the top tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Raiders, so they're
Yeah.
probably not going to be very good. But, you know. Oh, wait. Also, I forgot the Jets took Jalen Key, who is Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right. That's right. We did. We
Yeah.
took the last guy in the draft.
Yeah, and
And-
he
and,
seems
you know,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Irrelevant actually, historically speaking, statistically speaking, has a much higher chance of getting a second contract than like anybody in the prior like 3 rounds.
Huh. That is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
like
that.
Mr. Irrelevant for whatever reason is like a pretty like you have a good chance of making the team.
Huh. And I mean, he's a safety out of Alabama, so I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
background as well.
I'm sure he's good.
Yeah. So Raiders take anybody else I know or have heard of.
Let's see.
They took Jackson Powers Johnson, second round,
That's
the
right.
center. That's pretty good. He was supposed to be one of the top centers, if not the top.
Delmar Glaze. That's a great name.
Delmar Glaze.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, here he is. Tommy Eichenberg,
Mhm.
Trey Taylor, Marlon Devonshire. That's a cool name.
That's pretty cool. It's like a Lord of the Rings guy.
It is. Devonshire, my lord. And then we had the Saints, who took an offensive lineman.
Yeah, there were a lot of offensive linemen and QBs taken in
Yep.
this draft.
The Saints
You
also
don't
took.
say.
The Saints actually had kind of a crazy draft. They took offensive tackle out of Oregon State. Then they took Kool-Aid McKinstry. So Kool-Aid to the
course.
Saints.
Mhm.
So they took Spencer Rattler, the
Yeah,
quarterback.
right.
Who I think was projected to be a first rounder like a few years ago, and then he, funnily enough, got replaced by Caleb Williams, and then transferred to South Carolina, and I guess he did all right there. They took Bub Means. I thought Bub Means went to Pittsburgh, but it turns out he just went to the college Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the Saints. And then they took some other guys: linebacker, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. So
I also just want to say when they announced this pick originally, I didn't think I heard the sound very well, and I swear I thought his name, and this probably means nothing to either of you, but I thought his name was Talgeese Fuaga, which
Talgeese.
is that's the name of a like robot model in the Gundam series is the Talgeese. So, but yeah, no, it's just Talgeese, which is a cool name.
that's a cool name.
But hopefully his nickname becomes Talgeese. That's all I'm saying.
Then we had the Colts take Laiatu Latu. That's a fun name.
That is cool.
Yeah. And
Edge rusher. This
Yeah.
is the first defensive player, right?
yeah, in fact, this guy probably would have gone like top 5 in a lot of
Yeah.
other drafts. So that's a really good move, I think, for them.
Mhm.
And they I think they need a lot of help anyway on defense. So they got
Just in general.
just
They've
in
got
general.
the elite
They-
dragon though.
They do have the elite dragon. That is, and they got Anthony Richardson, who looked good before he kept getting hurt by running all the time.
Yeah.
They-
Well, good thing they upgraded their receiving core.
they got Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver, Texas.
Yeah.
He's apparently has some character concerns, and we're not happy with how he managed his type 1 diabetes.
Oh.
So,
Well, I mean, I think being very wealthy is going to help him manage that easier.
I would
you know?
imagine so. Having
Yeah.
a team dedicated to that.
Yeah.
They also got some offensive linemen. They got another wide receiver, Anthony Gold. More defense.
Excuse me, hold on. The Colts in the 4th round got someone named Tanner Bortolini.
That's true.
Now that is an Italian, and oh man, did you see his picture? He's rocking a hardcore mullet.
I did not. Let's see. Tanner Oh my God, he is. Wow.
that is bold. That is a bold mullet.
That is a Bortolini if I've ever seen one.
Good old Tanner Bortolini.
So cool. I mean, it seems like the Colts had a pretty decent draft. So
Yeah, a lot of picks.
yeah. Then we had the Seahawks, who another really good defensive player. They got Byron Murphy, who I heard this guy was like one of the best defensive tackle prospects like in the entire draft. I saw him. Like some people thought he'd go to the Bears at 9. So they have pretty good value here with him at 16. And let's see, what else did the Seahawks do? They did. They got Christian Haynes, guard. They got a linebacker. They got a tight end, AJ Barner out of Michigan. They got Nehemiah Pritchett, corner out of Auburn. DJ James, the other corner out of Auburn. They're just drafting the whole Auburn defense.
Yeah.
And then some more offensive linemen. So it seems like, to me, this feels like a Seahawks draft. Get some offensive linemen, some defense, and a really good defensive tackle.
Well, there's a new coach now, right? This year.
Yeah, the new coach, Pete Carroll's gone.
Pete Carroll. Yeah.
That's going to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had beep, boop, beep. The Vikings trade up to get Dallas Turner, which, I mean, I get it. He was supposed to go to the Falcons early on, and then they didn't take him. So, but the big thing here is they gave up 3rd and 4th rounder picks next year to move up 6 spots to get him, which seems kind of insane. I mean, if he's really good, like, that's right. But now next year they have a 1st round pick and then 2 5ths and a 7th. So that's concerning.
You know what? And looking at their picks this year, they had 2 in the 1st round and then 4, 6, 6, 7, 7. So whoever is the GM of the Minnesota, I think, is a big fan of Madden and Madden trading, because that's what this looks like. It's like, fuck it, trade all the other picks and players and get 1st round picks. You don't need anything else.
Yeah, this is the Rams strategy. Well, I guess the Rams trade their 1st round picks.
Right.
Yeah, they got a corner, they got a tackle, they got a kicker, they got the Alabama kicker. To be fair, I mean, getting a good kicker can really make or break a team at certain situations, like how, if your kicker misses 8 extra points, or, you're in like a playoff game against a bitter rival and then you miss a kick and then that can be really bad. Then they got a center, a defensive tackle. I mean, all right, it seems like things they need. Because the main thing they needed was a quarterback.
Yeah.
Then they got that. So that's really that. Then we had the Bengals. They took an offensive tackle. That makes sense. Amarius Mims. I think he's pretty good from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Did the Bengals do anything else? They got Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle, Michigan. Okay, that seems good. They got wide receiver from Alabama, Jermaine Burton.
Wow, they had a shitload of picks this year.
Yeah, they got a bunch of picks here. They got offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Anybody? They got a tight end from Iowa named Eric All. It's kind of a fun name.
That is pretty cool, yeah.
Eric All. So yeah, I mean, seems pretty good.
Yeah.
They'll be
solid. They're already solid, so
it's the Bengals. As long as they have Joe Burrow and like what's his name?
They don't always do though.
They don't always do though. That's
And Chase got injured last year too, right? Part of the year.
Once they go down, then it's But
they did pick up a 3rd round wide receiver, so you know, some depth there.
A little depth there. I don't know if T. Higgins will be around, but we'll see.
Yep.
Then we had the Rams take Jared Verse. Edge rush?
I would say Verse, but I don't know.
I guess Jared Verse. I don't know. Verse's more fun to say, so I'm going to say that.
That is pretty cool, yeah.
Looks like they also took a defensive tackle out of Florida State, Brandon Fisk. They took Blake Corum, the Michigan running back. They took Cameron Kinchins, safety out of Miami. I saw a lot of people mocking him to the Packers in the 2nd, so they got him in the 3rd. Pretty good value. And then they took some offensive line depth and some more depth later in the draft. So, I mean, no, it seems like an all right draft for them. Oh yeah, Aaron Donald retired, so they got a hole there. That's a pretty big hole.
Well, they did pick up 2 interior defensive linemen and 2 outer defensive linemen, so that was the
that should equate to 1 Aaron Donald,
right.
probably.
Yeah, that's like 1 Aaron Donald when you do the math. And then we get to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Man, 3 offensive linemen in the top 5 picks for the Steelers. I think they might want to run the ball, guys.
They
It's
might.
crazy. It's basically what everyone is like. All the coaches said they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna run the ball."
Yeah.
But yeah, we got Troy Fautanu, which I'm probably not saying that right, man. Don't expect that from me.
Yeah.
He's listed. It says guard here, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be left tackle.
Yeah.
But Steelers seem really happy with him as a pick, and my God, no offense to is it Dan Moore Jr. I think is was our tackle, trying his best to not let our quarterback die and failing at every turn. But yeah, he will no longer be with us. And
they shot him.
He's dead.
yeah, he's no longer with us. What's crazy is that the Steelers drafted like potentially a bunch of starters, like with how this is going, like Troy 100% day one starter, Zach Fraser 100% day one starter. Both of those positions were well, center was more required, but like Troy's going to replace, if he's a number 1 pick, he's going to replace our left tackle. And then Roman Wilson, I mean, our wide receiver room is very thin, so I mean, very likely day one, starter, considering there's not a lot of wide receivers that we have anyway. It depends on who we sign.
He's also a second day receiver, so he's probably gonna be a Pro Bowler.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Steelers second day receiver, instant Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
And then
you guys got Mims.
Oh yeah, they got Mims.
It's funny. He was former Jets wide receiver.
Yeah,
he's in your receiving core.
We signed so many wide receiver 4s. It's crazy. I can't even keep track of all of them. I don't know why we did that. But what's really exciting is our 98th pick, which was Peyton Wilson, which is a linebacker out of North Carolina State. And everything I'm hearing about this guy is like got me excited. So he is like injury prone to the like he's missing an ACL entirely.
Okay.
Which can't injure it if you don't have it. Probably.
Yeah,
that sounds right. That sounds right to me.
Yeah,
I don't know enough about knees to dispute it.
Just take him out.
But people were saying this was a steal because he is very good out regardless of his injuries. So like that getting a potential starting linebacker out of the 3rd round, out of the late 3rd round was that's nice. And then we also got another offensive line, Mason McCormick, who probably won't start because our guards aren't actually that bad. But I mean, outside shot, maybe,
Yeah.
And then we picked up
depth, rotational.
Yeah, depth for sure, at least. And then we picked up a defensive tackle, Logan Lee. Don't know as much about that one. That was a late 6th round pick.
Yeah.
But it's also, I don't know, it shows us with this thing I'm looking at is showing us with an empty other pick. We had one more pick.
It says Ryan Watts, I see. Corner.
Ryan Watts,
Texas.
yeah.
Yes. We got a cornerback with our last pick. That's right. For some reason, NBC doesn't want to tell me that.
Classic.
But this is, I mean, I'm happy because it seems like the Steelers have been doing this now, or at least Omar Khan has been doing this, where like he's not making flashy picks. He's picking objectively the best picks that he can do with what he has, and it's working. Our draft class last year was incredible, and I'm looking forward to this draft class because, I mean, we're only still kind of thin at corner right now, which isn't great, but our defense's mentality is let's kill the quarterback before he can throw the ball type deal.
Yeah.
So we don't really need exceptional corners if that strategy works out. But I mean, Jalen Moore and Najee Harris were putting up great numbers behind a terrible O-line, and now we're going to have a probably remarkably improved O-line. Yeah, and so that's going to be that might be scary, genuinely. Like Steelers might be like a run powerhouse, which
and Justin Fields to run the ball.
True. It's funny. I'd actually rather watch Justin Fields than Russell Wilson, even if he's worse, just because he's more fun to watch. But like, yeah, this Steelers could be a threatening team if running the ball still works in this league at all. I don't know. I don't know if that's still a thing you can do. But man, if the Steelers, I mean, we're at that point now where we're just like, hey, we've got literally everything except quarterback again. So, and we're not totally like out of it on quarterback. We still got Russell Wilson, who should still be fine.
Yeah.
But like, if we can protect him and also have a solid running game, he's not going to need to do that much anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
And if he
Hey,
does like kind of not seem like he's as good as he used to, like Justin Fields is still like he still is an NFL starter. It's not like he's
yeah,
bad or
and
something.
And they might do wildcat packages with him. Like honestly,
Yeah.
he probably could do well in that.
I trust
maybe.
the Steelers to get more out of him than the Bears
What's
did.
What's funny is it's starting to look exactly like what Arthur Smith had in Tennessee. It's
yeah.
like, oh, good defense, extremely good O line with some good running game. Like, okay, he might suck, but he's done this exact thing before, so maybe it'll work again. I don't know.
I also heard Arthur Smith just hated being a head coach because it felt like too much to him while as an offensive coordinator. He just liked focusing on offense. I heard that was like a lot of things like got reported.
Hopefully, I'm not going to have any expectations. This season for me is as like I'm going back in time to not last season, but the season before, where it's like, hey, no expectations. Like I feel like this team could either be actually really, really good or horrible because there's really no in between. Like I think the averageness of this team is actually not going to exist this year because like either these picks are going to work out and we're going to have an amazing O line with a great run game and a solid defense. Or they're not going to work out, and we're going to have the same ass team we had last year, and we're probably going to fluke in the opposite direction and be bad. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Don't ask me how this team got 10 wins last year. Don't make no damn sense. TJ Watt.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that like you guys, you got into the playoffs with I think a worse team, at least on paper.
Oh, for sure. That's exactly what I mean. Is like if this all works out and we do end up having 3, potentially 4 starters out of this draft, that could be good. It could be good. I'm excited. Weirdly excited to watch the run game for once. I want to see Jalen Warren and Najee Harris fucking just have all these lanes, man. Get out into space, start running.
Yeah,
I will say it's like it's rare that you have a good running game. Like the Jets haven't had one in a while, but like when the running game works, it is fun.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
We can only hope. We can only hope.
Then we had the Dolphins. They took Chop Robinson with their first pick.
Great name.
That is an excellent name.
Chop Robinson. The Dolphins also took Patrick Paul, offensive tackle, Houston. They took Jalen Wright, running back out of Tennessee. They took Mo Camara, offensive linebacker, defensive end. Malik Washington, wide receiver. Patrick McMorris, corner safety. And Taj Washington, wide receiver, USC. So they took a fair amount of offense, actually, which I didn't expect.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think like teams like I guess time will tell. But I think teams like the Dolphins, they got the right idea. It's all about the offense, baby. Who gives a shit if they score 30 points on you? You scored 45.
Hell yeah, that's the Green Bay Packer 2010 to 2000 now motto. The amount of times I watched Aaron Rodgers put up 41 and we lose by 45 was so much fun that I just can't even fathom thinking about all those times that it happened.
But that strategy also got Pat Mahomes his first ring, so
it did. But now he has defense that actually helps him, which is crazy. Defense. Then we had the Eagles take Quinion Mitchell, corner, out of Toledo. And the Eagles, I think, actually had a pretty good draft. They had Quinion Mitchell, who was like a top-ranked corner. Then they got Cooper DeJean out of Iowa.
Oh, yeah, he dropped quite a bit, right?
He dropped to the second round. He was a first-round prospect.
Yeah.
Then they got a defensive end. They got a running back out of Clemson, Will Shipley. They got Ainias Smith, a wide receiver out of Texas A&M. They got Jeremiah Trotter Jr., which is the son of Jeremiah Trotter, who played for the Eagles. So that makes sense. And then,
classic, yeah.
They got a guard out of Michigan, Trevor Keegan, and Johnny Wilson, wide receiver, Florida State, and then a center from NC State. So a lot of offense, again, in the second half. They went early defense. So, I mean, I think the Eagles had a really good draft.
Yeah. I mean, that division is chaos. So
it is chaos. So I think getting 2 of the top secondary players in the first 40 picks is like pretty good, especially because they need it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I feel like they got a pretty good draft, so we'll see. Especially now you got Saquon. So I think I will be picking the Eagles to win the division this year, but you never know in the Chaos division.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the Jaguars. Oh boy. Will they not mess up their team? Who knows? So the Jaguars took Brian Thomas, wide receiver, LSU. That's probably the Calvin Ridley replacement. Then they took a defensive tackle out of LSU. They took a corner out of Florida State, offensive tackle, a defensive tackle out of LSU. Dude, they picked 3 LSU players in their first 6 picks or 5 picks.
Smart man.
Yep. They took a running back out of Texas. They took a corner. I really don't know anything about any of these guys, but there's that guy's named DeAndre Prince.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's cool. And they also took a kicker at Arkansas, Cam Little.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. It's the Jaguars, so I still don't trust in anything they do, really.
Yeah.
And we'll see how these guys turn out.
They had a lot of high picks though in this draft. You know, there's 5 in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out. I mean, LSU's usually got pretty good players.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then we got the Lions, who took Terrion Arnold, corner out of Alabama. I think he was a top-ranked corner. Let's see. They needed corner. I think they lost a secondary player or 2.
They lost Cam Sutton because he was arrested.
Ah,
Right.
that's what it was. Yep, that'll do it.
Yeah.
And then did they lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Johnson. Did he go? I think he went back to the Eagles, didn't he? He did. So he went from the Eagles to the Lions, back to the Eagles now. Actually, I think he was on the Saints before the thing. But oh yeah, he was Saints, Eagles, Lions, back to the Eagles. So they lost him there. Although I think he was injured for a while last year anyway. But that's pretty cool. So they drafted him. They drafted Enos Rakestraw, another corner out of Missouri. So they're loading up on corner again.
That is
turns
also a
out-
pretty cool name. That is
Yeah.
like if you had like a Old West style post-apocalyptic type of scenario.
Yeah,
Ennis Rakestraw Jr.
yeah, that is
from Missouri. I mean, yeah, that's just perfect. I kind of want to make a story about him.
Yeah, that's a good name. Then they got offensive tackle Giovanni Manu
Mhm.
out of British Columbia.
Is that a school or just the
I
location?
No idea. Then they got a safety out of Utah, Sion Vaki. I'm definitely not saying that right. So turns out when you watch the 49ers throw all over you in the championship game, you should probably bolster up that secondary, and that's what they're doing. And yes.
So Giovanni, well, actually, here's something strange.
Okay.
His name is actually Werner Manu, but his nickname is Giovanni,
Oh.
which is significantly more syllables than either his first or last name. So I'm not sure how it's.
But everyone calls him Giorgio.
Yeah, of course.
But he is also like Quantes on the Jets. He played in the CFL.
Oh, okay. So that must mean like all these guys with that, they come from the CFL when it's just like,
Oh no, and actually I'm lying. He
Okay.
played Canadian football for U Sports Football, which is the highest level of amateur play of Canadian football.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so he played for the U Sports League on the UBC Thunderbirds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always like the Thunderbirds. One of my favorites.
Yeah. Mhm.
They took Makai Wingo, defensive tackle at LSU,
Mhm.
and Christian Mahogany, guard out of Boston College. So, I mean, this seems like a pretty solid draft for the Lions.
Yeah.
Addressed some of their weaknesses. That's usually what you use the draft for.
Mhm.
Then we had the Green Bay Packers.
Mhm.
Woo!
Yay.
I actually like the Packer draft. I've seen a lot of people grade it low. A lot of the like
It
professional grade
has-
people.
been getting graded low a bit. Yeah.
But like, nobody ever knows these things. People graded draft like I remember there was a draft a while ago. They gave the Seahawks like a D or an F, and it had like 3 Pro Bowlers. It was like Bobby Wagner and like insane players. They were like, this pick sucks, and the dude's like a pro. Like, you never know. it's the thing with a lot of these. So Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle, Arizona. So I actually like this because he's more of a like hybrid offensive line. The Packers love hybrid offensive linemen. And I think it's actually really good because we have so many guys where they're like, we can play him at tackle, we can play him at guard, he can back up center. And I think they love just having that flexibility because if somebody gets injured, you're like, slide him over. And I think these guys also learn how to play every line position, so you just get a little bit of experience. It's like how when you're in a video game and you learn how to play like FPS or not FPS, like you learn how to play DPS and healer and tank, and you're like, oh, I have appreciation for all the different roles now. Like, it's almost like that where you can know things about other positions because you play it. So I like that. He seems like he could be pretty good. They're gonna probably play him at left tackle though. So I mean, I'm fine with that pick. Then we got Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker, Texas A&M. I think this might be my favorite pick. I was watching a lot of stuff. He was pretty much mocked as the best linebacker in the draft. And watching his film, he definitely does look like the best linebacker. Like, he is very fast. He tackles, which is great. I love when the guys know how to tackle.
Tackling is important, in that job.
Nah, it's not important.
Especially our defense, where it seemed like nobody on our team knew how to tackle. So very good. I like him a lot of upside, especially because I was like, the number one thing I wanted, I think, was linebackers. We have Quay Walker, and that's it. So now we have him. So that's good. We got Javon Bullard, who is kind of like a corner safety hybrid from what I've seen. He looked pretty good. I believe he was from Georgia, so we love our Georgia defensive players. We have like 2 or 3 of them already on the starting team.
A lot of Bulldogs.
Yep. So he's probably going to be playing opposite of Xavier McKinney, who we got from the Giants, who is already proven to be good from free agency. Then we got Marshawn Lloyd, running back, USC. So this guy excites me and scares me. I didn't know who this guy was, and then I watched him. So he was a running back with Caleb Williams, so it's kind of funny that the Packers took him.
Okay.
And he reminds me of, like, you know those old school running backs that were like really small but like bowling ball, like crazy athletic. Like Doug Martin was one. I think Maurice Jones-Drew kind of comes to mind. Like, he's that. Like, he's like 5'8", but he is like insanely athletic and exciting. Like, he's just electric. Like, he'll just bounce around. He blows off tackles. He like looks insane. And then his problem is that he fumbles at an insanely large rate.
Yeah, that's not great.
So it's one of those.
Well, at least he's not a serial killer, right?
That's
silver lining.
That's true. So if he can,
much worse issue.
If they can fix his fumbling issue, this dude could be actually insane. And if they don't, it's going to be terrible, and he's going to cost us football games. So it's very much a like boomer bust running back type of situation. But like, I think it's worth the risk because watching him run it was really fun watching his highlight runs. But then you're like, wow, how did he fumble that? That was really bad. So
you also have Josh Jacobs though. So
yeah, we also have Josh Jacobs. So he's like gonna be the main guy, and then we still have AJ Dillon. So like he's probably gonna be like a specialty type of guy where we put him in certain packages, and then LaFleur is gonna do some jet motion scheming sweep shit. He loves the jet motion. So he's probably like, oh yeah, this is perfect. And I can very much see like one game he'll like do some insane play and everyone's like, holy shit, 80-yard run. He's like busting thing. And then the next game he just gets slammed into and coughs up the ball and we give up like a touchdown on a fumble. So that'll be fun. Then we got Tyron Hopper, who I believe they reached for, but he seemed okay. I hope I'm wrong. He just seemed kind of okay. I was like, I don't know why they reached for this guy. There must be something. They said he might be good at special teams, which if that's the case, fantastic. Everybody always is like, oh, he's special teams. I'm like, dude, You know how many times I've watched special teams lose us games or win us games? An absurdly high amount.
Yeah.
We got Evan Williams, a safety out of Oregon, who seems all right. I mean, I'll take secondary depth. We got Jacob Monk, a hybrid guard center out of Duke that is allergic to ice, apparently.
Excuse me?
Yep, that's a thing. He said he's allergic to ice. So he said one time he went in and he got hives all over his body from an ice bath, and he never went back in.
What?
Yeah, so some people said it's like a thing that can happen. He's not actually allergic to water.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure whatever it is that is affecting him, it is not an allergy to ice.
Yeah, so everyone was like, okay. But of course, it's like the headline thing, like, this guy's allergic to ice. And I'm like, well, I gotta click that.
Yeah.
So he's a 5th round, like, Packer offensive lineman. So he'll probably be a Pro Bowler in like 2 years.
Yep.
That's what we do. That's our Steelers 2nd round wide receiver is like 4th round offensive lineman. Then we got Kaiton Oladapo, safety out of Oregon State. I love this guy already. He sacked Caleb Williams in a game, so he's already to fit in. And he seems like he's a pretty solid 5th rounder depth piece. So cool. We got Travis Glover. We got a lot of draft picks. We had like 11.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle, Georgia State. Probably another Pro Bowl receiver down the line. Then we took a backup quarterback, Michael Pratt of Tulane.
Tulane.
So people have been making fun of this one as well because he actually beat Caleb Williams when Tulane played USC. So the people were like, he's already beaten the Bears quarterback. Woohoo! Which I don't really care. Whatever. It's just a funny thing. And then I love this pick. So 7th round, the draft's almost over. We take Kalen King, which instantly gave me PTSD of Kevin King, another corner that we took that did not help us very well. You can probably
There's no one else you could have taken in that draft that would have been better. Let's be honest.
Yeah, who do we take? Like TJ Watt?
No.
So yeah, we got our new K King. And this dude was projected as like a 1st round pick a year ago. And then he played terribly this last year. And nobody knew why. And they're just like, I don't know. And then he had a bad Senior Bowl and all this stuff. And then he just fell in this draft. And so they're just kind of taking a flyer on him. So the dude's like got 1st round potential a few years ago and then just had a bad season last year. So like, who knows why? Maybe he had like things going on at home or like he's just not doing like you know. So I mean,
maybe it's a problem, you know, a couple $100,000 will fix, you know.
Yeah, maybe it's just motivational, maybe it's, you know, maybe the scheme change they put him in, like who knows. But like this is just like a 7th rounder on a guy that had really high potential a few years ago. Like sure, why not? Like let's see what he's got. You might as well. So I actually like that pick quite a bit. It actually reminds me of last year with Dontavian Wicks. He had a really good year and then he had a really big down year and he fell, and then it turns out he was actually very good and was maybe one of our best receivers last year. So could be that, or he could just be bad now and then we get rid of him. But I guess we'll find out. So I mean, overall I think that was a great draft. We addressed all the needs we had, and hopefully the new defensive coordinator isn't any worse than Joe Barry. So that's really my hope. Then we had the Buccaneers. They took Graham Barton, offensive lineman Duke. That's good. He's offensive line. Seems good.
There's really nothing we can say about offensive line, to be honest.
Chris Braswell, defensive end, offensive line or outside linebacker, Alabama. So used to saying offense. They also took corner safety Tyke Smith. They took a wide receiver, Jalen McMillan. Bucky Irving, running back. That's a fun name. Bucky Irving.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
And then they took a guard and a tight end. So cool. Seems good.
Yeah.
And then we had the Cardinals, who we already talked about. Then we had the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We did have...
Everyone's mad about this one.
Yep. So
are they really? I didn't know. I didn't hear this.
Well, it's because Xavier Worthy is very fast. And so instantaneously, you know that this guy's like gonna be Tyreek Hill 2.0 for the Chiefs. Like,
Yeah,
you
right.
know what's gonna
I
happen.
see. Well, this is
Well,
the
it was-
guy. He broke the record, right, at the combine with his.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's so much worse than this though, because Buffalo traded down so that the Chiefs could get this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rough.
That is-
fucking insane.
I mean, you
Yeah.
know that in the AFC Conference Championship game this year, Xavier Worthy is going to catch the touchdown that's going to knock the Bills out of the playoffs.
Well, I don't know if the Bills are going to make it that far this year with everybody.
Yeah,
they
it's a good point.
lost. But we'll see. It'll be against the Texans or somebody.
Division is weak, though. That's the thing, too. So,
You say that every year, and then the Chiefs are just like, they're back again. Here they are.
yeah. Yeah. Well, no, I mean in the Bills.
Oh,
Bills
yeah.
Division. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a 4.2140, which is just absurd.
That is insane. Yeah. 4.2.
Or fastest since at least 2003.
That's, wow, yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
Who was the fastest back then, out of curiosity?
I don't know.
It was me.
Oh, okay.
Fast
Yeah, me in elementary school.
40
Ah.
times at the NFL Combine ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first site does put Xavier Worthy at the top.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think it's Xavier Worthy. I heard people
Oh.
say that it was the record, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the other things that claim higher, but the closest is John Ross,
Oh, yeah, I
the
remember
wide
John
receiver
Ross.
for Washington. Yeah, it's 4.22, and
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy, in fairness, is 4.21. So we're really splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
But then the next highest is Chris Johnson at 4.24.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Was he
yeah.
with the Jets? Or is that someone else?
Titans, right?
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
Titans.
yeah. He was with the Jets though briefly.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember.
Mhm.
Cool. That's be a Pro Bowler for the Chiefs. Then we
Yeah,
got
probably.
Kingsley Suamataya. I don't know how to say it.
That is pretty awesome.
That is a cool name though, and he's offensive tackle, so that's definitely something they needed. They also took Jared Wiley, tight end. Maybe future replacement for Travis Kelce, or just some guy that'll be on the team.
He's a fourth rounder, yeah.
Yeah. Jaden Hicks, safety out of Washington State. Hunter Norzad, that's a cool name.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
What
Hunter
is that?
Norzad. I don't know.
Yeah, that's got to be Eastern European, right?
It's gotta be.
Norzad.
Then Kamal Haddon, corner, and CJ Hansen, center guard. Is it Eastern European?
Well, the first thing according to Ancestry.com is Britain and Ireland.
Oh,
But,
I guess-
let me keep looking.
yeah, keep looking.
Apparently it has an Egyptian meaning.
I guess that would make sense. It does sound kind of Egyptian.
Yeah, except Hunter Norzad looks like he's white as snow.
Well, I mean, then the Irish part would make more sense.
Yeah.
He might have like an Egyptian mom or something at some point. I don't know. Or I guess it would be a relative. I don't know. Listen, I'm just I'm here to complain about NFL teams. Then we had the Cowboys, who we already talked about. Then we had the Ravens take Nate Wiggins, corner.
Mhm.
Let's see. Who else did the Ravens take? They took wee woo. They took an offensive tackle, Roger Rosengarten. They took a defensive end, Adiza Isaac out of Penn State, Davantez Walker, wide receiver, North Carolina, TJ Tampa. They got TJ Tampa. I thought he'd go to Tampa.
Oh man, that's messed up. He's got to be a free agent
Yeah.
and go to Tampa at some point.
Yeah, no, he's at some point, even if it's the end of his career, he's got to go to
Yeah,
Tampa.
and he's got to also become a master at the Tampa too.
Oh yeah, 100%. They got Rasheen Ali, running back, Marshall, Devin Leary, quarterback, Kentucky, Nick Samak, Michigan State, and Sanusi Kane out of Purdue.
That's pretty sweet.
That's a cool one, Sanusi Kane. Then we had the 49ers, who took Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah.
I did not expect them to take him, but they did. I didn't even know who that was, to be fair.
Oh,
Wide receiver out of Florida.
do you guys see his picture on ESPN? He has a very
They see
he
here.
looks like an N64 character specifically. Right?
He kind of does look like an N64 character.
He looks low poly. He looks like a low poly figure.
He kind of looks like a Baker Mayfield.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Kind of like a long Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, like a long Baker Mayfield. But he's going to the 49ers, so this dude's probably like gonna be insane.
Yeah.
In fact, it's probably the Brandon Ayuk replacement whenever they decide to move on.
Yep.
Because they will. Renardo Green, corner out of Florida State. Dominic Puny?
Mooney?
He's an offensive lineman. Malik Mustafa. It's a fun name.
That is
Safety.
cool.
Isaac Guerendo, Louisville. Guerendo.
Nah, I have no idea.
Jacob Cowing. Oh, it's not even Crowing. It's Cowing. Wide receiver,
Cowing.
Arizona. He's Cowing.
Cowan.
Jarrett Kingston, offensive lineman. USC. I heard they're bad at offensive line. And Tatum Bethune, linebacker, Florida State. So, all right.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. I feel like they feel like a similar to the Packer draft, where they just don't really draft anyone crazy, and then you're like, actually, these guys are pretty solid because of coaching and
I
development.
mean, they're already a super team, so yeah.
they're already a
like,
super team.
It's kind of all depth.
Yeah, which a lot of times depth is what ends up winning you games down in the later parts of the season when you're like, oh yeah, people get injured for long periods of time and we need other players.
Yeah.
And then the final pick of the second round or the first round was Xavier Leggett, wide receiver, Carolina Panthers, which they need those.
Yeah.
So that's
use
pretty
some
good.
of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryce Young needs all the help he can get. Very much so, because that was maybe one of the worst offenses last year you could have watched. And of course,
they were feeding Adam Thielen specifically, like.
Yeah, and that terrible team did put up 30 something points on the Packer defense because Joe Barry.
Joe Barry.
The Panthers also took Jonathan Brooks, who was the Texas running back that was ranked number 1 out of all running backs. So that should be helpful. Having a good running back. They took Jatavian
Barry.
Joel Barry. They took Jatavian Sanders, tight end out of Texas. Then they took some defense. They got Chow Smith Wade.
Oh, hold on. They got a guy named Jaden Crumedy.
Jaden Crumedy. Crumedy.
Born on a Sunday.
Thank you.
Yep. And the Bills actually traded back from that, and they got the first pick of the second round where they took Keon Coleman, which was essentially their first round pick, out of Florida State. And he seems pretty good. I think he's a pretty good receiver. It seemed like they were going to go Lad McConkey, but they did not. They went with him. And then they also took a safety, Cole Bishop out of Utah, Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle out of Duke, Ray Davis, running back Kentucky. I think he might have been the second or third running back of the thing. I don't remember. They took a center, Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia. They got a linebacker named Edifwan Ulofoshio.
That's pretty sweet.
Ulo for sure, yeah.
That's a fun one. And then Javon Solomon, Tylen Grable, Daquan Hardy, and Travis Clayton. Which, once you get to the second half of those players, you never know who's going to make the team and who's
You'll
not.
never hear those names again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that was pretty much it. Some notable other second rounder guys that went. Lad McConkey did go to the Chargers.
Yeah.
We mentioned Jalen Polk to the Patriots. Tavondre Sweat went to the Titans.
We should also mention the Bills too, because they didn't pick in the first round.
We literally just did, Rob.
Just did that, Rob.
Oh yeah.
We
No,
literally
that's-
were just
that's
talking about
who we
them
were
like
talking
10
about, man.
seconds
Hey,
ago.
I get it. It's
What
late. I'm
year
tired
is
too.
this?
It's like I was like, are you you all right?
Hey, but here's the thing though. What I was thinking is that we should probably talk about the Bills because they didn't go in the first round.
Oh, when you put it that way, yeah, I think we really should.
Mhm.
And that was the NFL draft.
And that was the NFL draft.
Wait, guys, we didn't cover the Bills.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, to be fair, we actually didn't cover the Browns, who didn't have a pick until pick 54.
Fucking cares.
Where they took Michael Hall, defensive tackle.
Thrilling.
Yep.
That's gonna help because what they really needed was defense.
They really need defense, yeah.
They got a guy named Jamari Thrash. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
We can't. Nothing the Browns do is cool, guys. You know this. You know this.
Yeah.
They got a guy named Joanne Briggs. That's kind of cool.
I mean, I liked when the Elite Dragon was their QB.
They got Zach Zinter. That's a fun name. Listen, the Browns are not going to be good. So, that's pretty much the NFL draft. I think pretty solid for everybody, unless you're the Falcons. And that's.
How'd you guys like your own team's draft? Yay, nay?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too.
I don't think we could have done much better.
Yeah,
I thought mine, the Jets one was pretty good too. I'm not sad about anything really.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, the majority of teams, had pretty solid drafts that they're happy about. So this is kind of like in fantasy football when everyone drafts their team, like, dude, this is pretty good, and then we play the games, we're like, this guy fucking blows.
Why how would you pick a guy like that? Are you a moron?
This is unbelievable. I can't fire everybody. Clean house. So that'll be good. But that's that. So we'll see everybody for
in 3 months.
Yeah.
Preseason. 3 months from now.
Or potentially maybe a little sooner.
If Aaron Rodgers breaks another leg or something.
Oh god, don't put that evil into the world.
It would be so funny.
It would be really funny.
It would be so really it couldn't have happened to a worse person. Well, no, Kevin to Deshaun Watson. That's a worse
true,
person.
Yeah, if it's like July and they're like doing some training camp, minor exercises, and some crazy shit happens, maybe we could like bust something out.
Yeah. I'd be so fucking mad.
I would like to see Rodgers at least play some games with the Jets. Just for
that would be nice.
Content's sake, even.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Thanks again, patrons.
Yeah, thank you, patrons. I still have not updated the patron sheets, but here are the old ones. Hey,
thanks again for being off-season heroes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sincerely.
There they are. Maybe we'll know the Hard Knocks team by the next thing. That'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Which, it's probably the Bears, to be honest. They'll make them do
that'd be good. That'd be good.
So we'll see. And we'll see you in a few months.
Bye,
everybody.
Bye.